Welcome back to Grill This, Smoke That, and I just picked up this 2-burner 22-inch Blackstone from a friend. We're going to be taking it camping this week, and the last time he cooked on it, he said he used it at the beach and he did not clean it afterwards. So you can see I already cleaned it off with water the best I could, but there is pretty good surface rust, mainly in the corners. So my goal today is to restore this back to a beautiful seasoned finish. So I have a few different tools we're going to try today that I've used on other projects around my house. I have a drill with a paint removal disc here. I have a sponge sander. This is from Gator Finishing with a coarse grit sandpaper to get into the corners. I have this angle grinder with a sanding disc on it. This is a coarse grit sandpaper. Then I have my random orbit sander with a coarse grit sandpaper, and then a little bit finer sandpaper, still fairly coarse. This is an 80 grit. So I think this is a 60 grit on it. So I'm gonna try all these tools today and see which one works the best, so you don't have to go through the process of trying to find out the best tool. You will just be able to get it done quickly and re-season your Blackstone. I'm gonna start with this paint removal sanding disc that goes on the end of the drill. And I actually thought this was going to work really well, but it didn't. It took it off very slowly and only in small portions. It would absolutely work to do the whole thing, but it would take a long time to use it. I have a lot of these tools because I also do some woodworking. If you want to check that out, you can look at Tightwad DIY on YouTube. I'll put a link in the top right corner to some of my videos. But this random orbit sander has about a 60 grit sandpaper on it, and it actually worked really well. It started removing the surface immediately, and I could do the whole Blackstone with this in probably about 2 or 3 minutes to get the top layer knocked off. I saved the angle grinder for last because I know less people have access to one, and especially with a sanding disc, because usually they're used for cutting. But I knew it would be aggressive and remove the finish quickly, so you can see that it does absolutely remove it quickly, and I would be able to do the whole surface in about 30 seconds to 1 minute total. So I went ahead and used the angle grinder to knock off the majority of the old layer of seasoning, and then I came back with the random orbit sander because I felt like it would give it a smoother finish, and I went around and cleaned up all the areas that needed to be touched up a little bit, and used it to get all the way up against the edges of the Blackstone on the bottom surface and then on the sides as well. I definitely recommend wearing a pair of safety glasses and a dust mask while doing this. Make sure you remove all the rust so it doesn't spread quickly again. And then I use this little rectangular shaped sanding sponge to get into the corners. It works super well. Again, it's from Gator Finishing. I'll make sure I put a link in the description and pinned comment in case you need one. They are great for woodworking and just completing little tasks around the house because they conform to the shape of whatever you're sanding. While I get this finished up, it'd be awesome if you would click that thumbs up button and subscribe to my channel. I post a lot of videos showing how to cook on the Blackstone and the Big Green Egg. I used my blower to get all the debris off, and now I'm going to pour some vinegar on it, and I'm going to use a little bit of steel wool, and this should take care of any of the other surface rust that's down in little cracks and crevices. So I'll go around all the edges with the steel wool and the vinegar. Vinegar is also good for removing rust from tools. I'll link to a video on my other YouTube channel, Tightwad DIY, showing how I used it to clean off a pair of nasty pliers that I use for fishing. And you should probably wear gloves while doing this. See how that rust is just wiping right off? That's what you're looking for. All that orange, brown color is just coming right off with this vinegar. All right, I'm gonna go rinse this off with the garden hose, and I'll be back. With it completely clean and dry, I have my gas turned on now, and I'm going to squirt some oil on the griddle and on my paper towel here and rub it all over, making sure I get in all the cracks and crevices on all of the sides, inside and out. Just a thin coat of oil. And then we're gonna let that burn on and repeat the process at least 3 times until we get some black showing on our griddle. Now with the gas completely on and our griddle oiled down, it should start to change colors right along the burners. This one has more of a rectangle shaped burner, so it should be in little rectangles on each side. And we just wait until we see the oil start smoking. Once it starts smoking, that means it's cooking on. Once it stops smoking, that means that layer is done. We'll turn off the griddle and repeat the process. A lot of people have different opinions on what type of oil you should use, but I recommend using just a canola oil or a vegetable oil for this. They work really well for seasoning. You can see the smoke coming off the Blackstone now and a little bit of color coming up over each of the burners here. So we're gonna let that keep going until the smoke stops, then we'll add that second layer. Just to give you an idea of the temperature, it's at about 525 degrees, 522 to 535. And you can see it getting nice and black right over those burners. Don't worry if eventually you don't get black in the corners. That will come the more you cook on it. I got the gas turned off. I'm going to let it cool down enough that I can put another coat of oil on it with my paper towel. And then we will do the same thing again. And I'm probably gonna use 3 coats today, as I said before. The first coat actually looks really good, but I'm gonna put 2 more just to make sure it's nice and seasoned because we are taking it camping this weekend. The first coat of oil is on and cooked in. The griddle has cooled down a good bit. So now I'm going to put on the second coat. If your griddle is too hot, you can use one of your spatulas, or I'm using the Dollar Tree, using this Dollar Tree scraper here that I use for lots of different things on my griddle. But you can use this to spread in the oil as well. Make sure again that you get the sides. Anything that doesn't have oil baked into it is going to rust. Now we're ready to fire the gas up again. And let it cook back in. If you're really worried about the corners and you happen to have a propane torch laying around, you can cook the corners with this. You can see the difference where I use the torch there and here versus these 2 corners. It's not absolutely necessary to do that. That corner will get seasoned over time and it will get that nice dark color without the torch. But if you're wanting to speed up the process, it is an option. It looks pretty good right now, but I am going to go ahead and do 1 more coat, light coat of oil, and cook it in, and then we'll finish off with just a light coat of oil to sit on top of it. So every time you finish using your Blackstone, you should put a light coat of oil on it just to keep everything nice and lubed up and water free. So 1 more time, let that cook in, and then we'll call it a day. A lot of people get really nervous when it's time to season or re-season their Blackstone, but you can see it's really a pretty simple process. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up. It really helps my channel out. Be sure that you click that subscribe button and ring the notifications bell so you'll see the next time I upload videos showing how to cook on the Blackstone or the Big Green Egg. You'll see a few more videos shown on the screen right now. You can click them and they'll open right up on your device. There's a link to order some t-shirts in the description. And as always, I hope you guys have a great day.